The first time Abigail Johnson heard the voice that would own her heart for 10 years, she was sitting in the dirt, eating a corn cake and trying not to cry. It was May 1855. Chesterfield County, Virginia, and the fence between Henderson Plantation and Whitfield Plantation had stood for 23 years. 6 feet of weathered oak planks, built to keep enslaved people from seeing each other, talking to each other, remembering they were human beings instead of property. Abby sat on the Henderson side every day at 12:20 p.m. 20 minutes. The only break in 14 hours of cotton fields and sun that felt like God's punishment. She was 29 years old and couldn't remember the last time she'd smiled about anything that mattered. From the other side of the fence came the sound of a hammer, someone fixing the rotted boards. "Good afternoon." A man's voice, soft, careful, coming through a gap between planks. Abby didn't look up, kept her eyes on the corn cake in her calloused hands. Strangers were dangerous. Conversation was dangerous. Hope was the most dangerous thing of all. "I'm sorry," the voice continued after a long pause. "I didn't mean to intrude. It's just nice to know someone's there." She chewed slowly. The corn cake tasted like dust and defeat, same as always. But something in his voice, not the usual hardness of a man who'd survived 40 years in chains. Something softer, lonely. Against her better judgment, Abby spoke. "You fixing the fence?" "Yes, ma'am." A pause. She heard him shift on the other side, boards creaking. "Master Whitfield says, keep the Negroes separated, as if we're dangerous if we can talk to each other." Abby felt something crack in her chest, not breaking, thawing. That's stupid. Building walls between people who are already in cages. A laugh from the other side. Warm, genuine, the kind of sound you didn't hear much in places like this. "God, yes. But you know what? I'm going to fix this fence very, very slowly. Maybe we can talk again." The corner of Abby's mouth twitched. Maybe. She didn't mean to come back the next day, but at 12:20 her feet carried her to the fence. "You came back," the voice said. Happy. Surprised. "You're still fixing that fence?" "Found 3 more rotten boards this morning. Terrible craftsmanship. Might take weeks." This time Abby smiled. Actually smiled. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. Names were power. Names were connection. Names were the first step toward caring, and caring got you hurt. "Abigail," she said finally. "Everyone calls me Abby." Beautiful name. His voice was gentle, like he was holding something fragile. "I'm Cassius. Cassius Merriweather, if you believe the master's records." "You don't sound like you believe them." "My father was sold when I was 14. I don't remember his real name, the one from before the ships. So Merriweather is all I have, even if some white man invented it." Abby closed her eyes. "My mother died when I was 7. I remember her hands, soft even after the fields. I don't know how she did that." They talked for 18 minutes. When the overseer's whistle blew, signaling back to work, Abby felt like she'd been robbed. The next day, she told him about Sarah, her daughter, 10 years old, born from violence she didn't want to name. "Overseer cornered me in the storage shed when I was 19, she said, voice flat. Clinical, the only way to tell it without shattering. 9 months later, Sarah. I can't hate her, but when I look at her, I see his face." Long silence from the other side. Then, "Abby, that's not your fault. Never. You're not broken. You're the strongest woman I've ever met. You haven't even seen my face. Don't need to. I can hear your soul. 3 months passed. 20 minutes every day. Same spot. Same time. Two voices learning each other through gaps in wood. Abby learned that Cassius was 31, that he was a carpenter taught by his father before the sale, that he was blind in his right eye, a beating when he was 12, some offense he couldn't remember, that Master Whitfield called him the one-eyed carpenter and paid him nothing for work that kept the plantation standing. Cassius learned that Abby could read, taught herself from scraps of newspaper she found in the big house where she cleaned before they moved her to the fields, that she dreamed of opening a school someday if freedom ever came, that she sang to Sarah at night, old songs her mother sang, words in a language she didn't understand but remembered in her bones. They never saw each other's faces, only shadows through the cracks, the shape of a hand, the outline of shoulders. But Abby knew his voice better than her own heartbeat. In August, during a thunderstorm that gave them an extra 10 minutes because the overseer stayed inside, Cassius said the thing that changed everything. "Abby, I need to tell you something." His voice was shaking. She pressed her hand against the fence, wishing she could reach through. "I don't know the color of your eyes," he continued. "I don't know if you're tall or short. I've never held your hand. But I know you laugh when you're surprised. I know you sigh when you're tired. I know the way you say my name, like it's something precious. And I love you." Abby's throat closed. Tears ran hot down her face. "Cassius, how can you? You don't know me. I'm broken. Stop." His voice was firm. "You're not broken. You survived hell and you still laugh. You love your daughter even though she reminds you of pain. You dream about teaching children to read in a world where dreaming gets you killed. You're beautiful. And I don't need to see your face to know. You're everything I've ever prayed for." She sobbed. 10 years of swallowed tears came up at once. "I love you too," she whispered. "God help me, I love you too." September 1855, a month after the confession. Abby arrived at the fence to find Cassius already there, breathing hard like he'd been running. "Are you all right?" He paused. "Can you put your hand through? There's a gap here near the bottom, narrow but..." She knelt in the dirt, found the opening, barely 2 inches wide. Slowly, carefully, she pushed her fingers through. For 5 seconds, nothing. Then she felt it. His hand, rough carpenter's palm against her fingertips. They stayed like that for the entire 20 minutes, not speaking, just touching, crying. When the whistle blew, Abby pulled her hand back and stared at her fingers like they belonged to someone else. "I'll never hold you," she whispered through the fence. "Never kiss you. Never see your eyes. I know. But those 5 minutes, I'd live 100 lives for those 5 minutes," Cassius said. Abby pressed her forehead against the fence, felt the splinters dig into her skin. "How do we do this? Love someone we can never touch? One day at a time, 20 minutes at a time, for as long as we have." She closed her eyes. Forever then. Forever. By December they had routines, small rituals that made the impossible bearable. Cassius would tap the fence 3 times when he arrived, his way of saying, "I'm here." Abby would tap back twice, "I'm here too." On days when Abby couldn't come because she was working in distant fields, she'd leave a small stone at the base of the fence. Cassius would find it, keep it in his pocket, return it the next day they met. On days when Cassius couldn't come because Master Whitfield had extra carpentry work, he'd carve a tiny notch in the fence board, too small for anyone else to notice. But Abby would run her fingers over it and know, "I was thinking of you." They learned each other's breathing. Abby could tell when Cassius was tired by the way his voice slowed. Cassius could tell when Abby was scared by the way she paused before speaking. Once, in October, Abby said, "Tell me what you'd do if we were free." "Build you a house," Cassius answered immediately. "Not a cabin. A house, with windows, a porch, a garden, rooms for you and Sarah and any children we'd have. I'd build furniture, a real bed, a table where we'd eat breakfast together. I'd carve our names into the doorframe so everyone would know, this is ours." "I'd teach," Abby said. "Open a school, teach children to read, write, count. Teach them they're more than what white folks say they are. And every evening, I'd come home to that house you built. I'd cook dinner, real dinner, not scraps. And we'd sit on that porch and watch the sun go down. Together." "Together," Cassius echoed. They sat in silence, both imagining a future that would never come. "Cassius?" "Yes?" "Even if we never have that, even if this fence stands between us until we die, I'm grateful. You gave me something I thought I'd lost forever." "What's that?" "Hope." His hand found the gap in the fence. She slid her fingers through. They stayed like that until the whistle blew. January 1856. 8 months since they met. Sarah asked her mother a question one night as they lay on their thin mattress in the quarters. "Mama, you smile now." "Do I?" "Every day when you come back from lunch, you smile. Why?" Abby looked at her daughter. 10 years old, too smart for her own good, eyes that saw everything. "There's someone I talked to, at the fence." "A man?" "Yes." "Do you love him?" Abby hesitated. Then, "Yes." "Have you seen his face?" "No." Sarah frowned, confused. How can you love someone you've never seen? Abby pulled her daughter close. "Baby, sometimes you love people for who they are, not what they look like. I know his voice. I know his heart. I know he's kind and strong and believes I'm worth something, even when I don't. That's enough. Will you marry him?" The question stabbed. Marriage was for free people. Marriage was a luxury they'd never have. "No, baby." "But I'll love him anyway." "That's sad, Mama." "I know. But it's also beautiful." Sarah didn't understand. How could she? She was 10. She still believed in happy endings. Abby held her daughter and stared at the ceiling and thought about Cassius on the other side of that fence, probably lying awake too, thinking the same impossible thoughts. 20 minutes a day. That was all they had, all they'd ever have. But God, those 20 minutes, they were everything. The system was born from desperation on a frozen January morning in 1856, 8 months after Abby and Cassius first spoke through the fence. Thomas was 23, field hand on Henderson Plantation, and he'd made a decision that would either free him or kill him. He approached Abby in the cotton rows when the overseer was checking the far fields. "Aunt Abby," he whispered, using the courtesy title enslaved people gave their elders. "I need to ask you something dangerous." Abby kept picking, hands moving automatically. Never stop working, never give them a reason to look. "Speak. You talk to that man, every day, the one from Whitfield's side." Her hands froze for half a second. "What about it?" "I'm running, next week, new moon. But I need to know. When do the Whitfield patrols ride? Where are their hunters? Are there safe houses north of here?" His voice cracked. "Please, my wife's pregnant. If I don't go now, they'll sell the baby. You know they will." Abby looked at the fence in the distance, felt something shift in her chest. "I'll ask," she said. At 12:20, Cassius was already there. She heard his 3 taps. "I'm here." She tapped twice. I'm here too. Cass, I need to tell you something. Anything. There's a man, Thomas. He wants to run. He needs information from your side. Patrol schedules, hunter locations, safe houses. Can you find out? Long silence. Then, Abby, if we do this, if we get caught, they'll hang us, I know. And you still want to? She pressed her hand against the fence. I've been thinking about what you said, about building a house, about my school, about being free. But what if we can't ever have that? What if this fence stands between us forever? Her voice broke. Then maybe our love can be for something bigger than us. Maybe we can be the bridge. Cassius was quiet for so long she thought he'd left. Then, yes, tell Thomas I'll get him everything he needs. It took 3 days. Cassius worked slowly, deliberately, fixed the overseer's porch, heard them discussing patrol routes, repaired the stable, saw when the hunters came and went. Delivered furniture to the big house. Master Whitfield's wife gossiped about the righteous abolitionists in town who ran safe houses. Every day at 12:20, he whispered the intelligence through the fence. Patrol rides Monday and Thursday nights, South Road only. North Road is clear Tuesday through Sunday. Hunter Morrison gets drunk every Saturday, useless till Tuesday. Safe house 12 miles north. White House, blue shutters, Quaker family. Password is a friend of a friend. Abby memorized every word. Passed it to Thomas through coded phrases in work songs, whispers in the fields, trusted intermediaries. February 6th, 1856. New moon. Thomas ran. He made it to Ohio in 11 days. When word came back through the Whisper network, Abby stood at the fence with tears streaming down her face. He's free, Cass. Thomas is free. Because of us. Because of you. No, Cassius said firmly. Because of us. You and me. Together. She slid her fingers through the gap. He held them. We're going to do this again, Abby whispered. Anyone who wants to run, we're going to help them. Every single one we can. By December 1856, they'd helped 28 people escape. The system ran like clockwork. Cassius gathered intelligence. Patrol schedules, hunter patterns, safe house locations, which roads had checkpoints, which rivers were monitored, which white folks could be bribed, which couldn't. Every day, during their 20 minutes, he passed everything to Abby in rapid whispers. She'd developed a photographic memory for his intelligence, could repeat it word-perfect hours later. Abby distributed information through a network she'd built. Trusted elders, work song codes, symbols scratched in dirt, messages hidden in food baskets. Runaways used the intelligence to plan routes, time escapes, avoid capture. The Henderson and Whitfield plantations were isolated from each other by design. Masters wanted it that way. Divided enslaved people were easier to control. But that fence, that barrier meant to separate, had become the most dangerous intelligence pipeline in Chesterfield County. And no one suspected the elderly carpenter and the field hand who sat on opposite sides every day, talking about nothing, bothering no one. March 1857, 15 months into the operation. Cass, there's a woman, pregnant, needs to run before she delivers or they'll take the baby. Patrol's heavy this month, too dangerous. She doesn't have time to wait. Silence. Then, there's a window. Sunday morning, 4 a.m. Patrol changeover. 20 minutes when no one's watching the North Road. She has to move fast. I'll tell her. The woman made it. Mother and baby both. That's when Abby understood the true weight of what they were doing. They weren't just passing information. They were deciding who lived and died. One wrong detail, one miscalculation, and people burned. Cass, what if we make a mistake? We won't. How can you be sure? Because we're careful. Because we double-check everything. Because we love these people enough to get it right. He paused. Abby, I'm scared too. Every day. But what's the alternative? Do nothing? Let them suffer because we're afraid? No. She pressed her forehead against the fence. No, we keep going. Until slavery ends or we're caught. Whichever comes first. June 1857. 34 escapes that year so far. Abby sat at the fence, exhausted. 14 hours in the fields under sun that felt like judgment. Her back ached, her hands bled. She was 31 years old and felt 60. Cass, I'm tired. I know, love, I know. I want to wake up next to you, cook you breakfast, see your face in the morning. But I don't even know what color your eyes are. Brown, he said quietly. Like earth after rain, my mother used to say. The left one, anyway. The right's been dead since I was 12. I want to touch your face, kiss you, hold you. I know. Are we insane? Loving each other like this? Helping strangers escape when we can't even escape ourselves? Long silence. Then Cassius said something that broke her heart and mended it at the same time. Maybe this is our escape. Not through running, through making sure others can run. Maybe our freedom is knowing we're the reason 100 people breathe free air. Abby closed her eyes. That's not fair. We deserve freedom too. We do. But maybe we won't get it in this lifetime. Maybe the best we get is 20 minutes a day and the knowledge that we mattered. That's not enough. I know. But it's what we have. And I'd rather have 20 minutes with you, fighting for others, than a whole life without you, fighting for nothing. She wanted to scream, wanted to tear down the fence with her bare hands, wanted to run until her legs gave out. Instead, she whispered, I love you. I love you too. Forever. Forever. November 1858. 96 total escapes. 3 years into the operation. Master Henderson called Abby to the big house. She went, heart hammering, sure they'd been discovered. Abby, you're 32 years old. Sarah's growing up. I need more workers. You'll be bred to Joshua. Joshua was 28. Strong field hand, kind man. Not his fault. Yes, master, Abby said, because there was no other answer. That afternoon at the fence, she told Cassius. Couldn't stop shaking. He's going to touch me. Enter me. And I can't say no because I'm property. Cass, I'm so sorry. Stop. His voice was steel. Abby, listen to me. This is not your fault. This is not betrayal. This is violence. You hear me? Violence. And I will be here. Every day. I will love you through this. I will love you after this. Nothing changes. How can you? Because you're mine and I'm yours, and no one can take that. Not masters, not laws, not anything. What they do to your body can't touch what we have. You understand? They can't reach us here. She sobbed. I hate this. I hate this so much. I know, love. I know. June 1859. Abby gave birth to a son, unnamed for 2 weeks because she couldn't bear to look at him. Cassius asked about the baby every day. Never pushed, just asked. Finally, she said, I named him Samuel, after my father. I don't remember my father, but it seemed right. That's a good name. Cass, I can't love him. Every time I look at him, I see Joshua. I see the fact that I had no choice. I'm a terrible mother. You're not. You're traumatized. There's a difference. What if I never love him? Then you don't. But you're keeping him alive, feeding him, protecting him. That's love, even if it doesn't feel like it. By Samuel's first birthday, Abby had learned to hold him without flinching. It wasn't the love she felt for Sarah, but it was something. Cassius never wavered. Every day. You're mine, I'm yours. Nothing changes. December 1860. 168 total escapes over 5 years. Cass, do you ever regret this? Meeting me, loving me, helping all these people when we can't help ourselves? Never. Not even once? Abby, you are the best thing that ever happened to me. This fence, these 20 minutes, this impossible love. It's more than most people get in a free lifetime. We've saved 168 lives. We've loved each other through hell. No, I don't regret a single second. Even though we'll never have what we want, we have each other. That's enough. It wasn't enough. They both knew it. But it was all they had. And so they stayed, day after day, year after year, 20 minutes at a time, loving each other through a fence, saving others while they themselves remained enslaved. Until March 1861, when everything changed. March 1861. The country was tearing itself apart. Fort Sumter would fall in 5 weeks. The Confederacy had formed. War was coming. Everyone knew it. And in the chaos of a nation fracturing, enslaved people saw something they'd never seen before. Opportunity. Cassius had been digging the tunnel for 4 months. Every night after dark, when the Whitfield plantation slept, he'd slip to the fence with a stolen trowel and dig, 6 inches at a time. Dirt packed into his pockets, scattered in the woods. Slow, patient, invisible. The tunnel was 3 feet deep, 4 feet long, just wide enough for a body to crawl through. It ended exactly beneath the fence, on Abby's side. At 12:20 on March 14th, he told her, "Abby, I need you to listen very carefully." She heard something different in his voice, not the usual warmth, something urgent, desperate. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. For the first time in 10 years, everything's right." He paused. "I dug a tunnel, under the fence. Took me 4 months. It's ready." Her breath stopped. "Ready for what?" "For us. We can run. Tonight. Tomorrow. Whenever you're ready. I'll come through, we'll take Sarah and Samuel, and we'll go. North. Ohio first, then Canada. There are safe houses all along the route. We know them all. We helped build the network. Abby, we can finally be together." Silence stretched between them like a chasm. "Cass, I know it's dangerous. I know the odds. But the war's starting. Plantations are disorganized. Patrols are spread thin. If we're ever going to have a chance, it's now." "Cass, stop. I've thought about this every day for 6 years. Every single day. Waking up next to you, seeing your face in sunlight, holding you, kissing you. Building that house I promised. We've earned this, Abby. We've saved 168 people. Don't we deserve to save ourselves?" "Cass, please stop talking." He stopped. Waited. Abby pressed her forehead against the fence, eyes closed, tears already starting. "What about the others?" "What?" "The others. 112 people on my side, 89 on yours. If we leave, who's going to pass them information? Who's going to help them run? We're the only bridge between these plantations, the only one. Abby, we can't save everyone. We saved 168 in 6 years. What if we stay? What if we save another 100, another 200? How many lives are worth our happiness? That's not fair. It's not about fair." Her voice broke. "Cass, I love you more than my own life, more than anything. But if we run, we save 4 people, us and the kids. If we stay, God, Cass, Maybe we save hundreds more. You're asking me to give up the only thing I've ever wanted. I'm asking you to choose between what we want and what's right. They're not mutually exclusive. Yes, they are. She was crying now, hard, ugly sobs. In this world, they are. We don't get to have both. We never did. Long silence. She heard him breathing on the other side. Heard him crying too. So you're saying no? He said finally, voice flat, dead. I'm saying I can't leave them. I can't live knowing we chose happiness while hundreds suffered because we weren't there. Could you? Could you really be happy in Canada knowing we abandoned everyone? Yes. He was shouting now, years of restraint shattering. Yes, I could. Cass, you're choosing them over us. You're choosing strangers over me. I'm choosing what I can live with. And I can't live with that much blood on my hands. So you'd rather we die here, enslaved, never touching, never being together? You'd choose that over running with me? Yes. The word came out broken. Yes, because it's the right thing. Even if it kills me, even if I hate it. Yes. She heard him stand up, heard his footsteps walking away. Cass, wait. I need to be alone right now. Please don't go. But he was gone. He didn't come to the fence the next day, or the day after. For 5 days, Abby sat at that fence at 12:20, waiting. No 3 taps, no voice, nothing. On the 6th day, she heard the sound of digging, then dirt being shoveled back into place. He was filling in the tunnel. Cass? Her voice was small. Silence. More shoveling. Cass, please talk to me. The shoveling stopped. Long pause. What do you want me to say, Abby? I don't know. Anything. Just don't shut me out. You shut me out first. That's not fair. Fair? His laugh was bitter. You want to talk about fair? I spent 4 months digging that tunnel, every night, bleeding hands, barely sleeping. Know what I thought about while I dug? Your face. Finally seeing your face. Waking up next to you, growing old together, and you threw it away for people you don't even know. That's not true? Isn't it? You chose them. Fine. But don't ask me to smile about it. I love you. I know. That's what makes this hurt so much. More shoveling. The tunnel being erased. Their last chance at freedom being buried. Are you going to keep coming to the fence? Abby whispered. Long, terrible silence. I don't know. For 2 weeks, he didn't come. Abby sat there every day anyway. 20 minutes of staring at wood, waiting for a voice that didn't come. Sarah asked why Mama was crying all the time. Abby had no answer. On the 15th day, she heard 3 taps. I'm here. She tapped twice immediately, desperately. I'm here too. I'm sorry, Cassius said. His voice was raw. I'm so sorry. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. No, I'm sorry. You were right. We deserve to be selfish. We deserve happiness. And I took that from you. Abby, stop. You were right too. We both were. That's the problem. There's no good answer. We're damned either way. She pressed her hand against the fence, felt his hand find hers through the gap. I can't stop loving you, he said. I tried. For 2 weeks I tried to hate you, to make this easier. I can't. I can't either. So what do? We stay. We keep helping people. We keep being the bridge. And we keep loving each other, even though it's killing us. For how long? Until the war ends. Until slavery ends. Until one of us dies. Forever, if we have to. Forever, he echoed, broken, resigned. Okay, forever. They kept working. April, May, June. The war raged. More people needed to escape. The intelligence network became more crucial than ever. But something had changed between them. The lightness was gone. The joy was gone. They functioned. They loved. But it was duty now, more than desire. July 1861. A young woman named Grace needed to run. Pregnant, master threatening to sell the baby. North Road clear Tuesday night, Cassius reported. Mechanical, efficient. Thank you, Abby said. Passed the information along. Grace made it. 169th successful escape. August, twin brothers. 170 and 171. September, an elderly couple. 172 and 73. The numbers climbed. The system worked. People found freedom. But Abby and Cassius found none. December 1861. 8 months after the tunnel conversation. Almost 7 years since they'd met. Abby? Yes. Do you ever regret it? Saying no? Long pause. Honest answer. Every day. Every single day. Me too. But I still think it was right. I know. I think so too. And I hate that. I hate that we did the right thing and we're still miserable. Maybe that's what being good costs. Maybe righteousness is supposed to hurt. Then I don't want to be good anymore. Yes, you do. That's who you are. That's why I love you. He laughed. Sad, bitter sound. We're idiots, aren't it? The biggest. Do you still love me? More than anything. Even after all this, even though I yelled at you, even though I ignored you for 2 weeks? Especially after all that. Because you're human. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to want things. And you came back. That's what matters. Silence. Then, I'm going to love you until the day I die, Abby. And I'm going to love you right back. Even if we never get to be together. Even then. March 1862. 1 year after the tunnel. Thomas, the first person they'd helped, came back to Virginia. Free man now, traveling with abolitionist preachers, recruiting for the Union Army. He found Abby in the fields. Aunt Abby. He was crying. I'm free. Because of you. Because of you and that man you love. I'm alive and free, and I have a son now, and he'll never be enslaved. You gave me that. How do I thank you for that? You don't need to. Yes, I do. Tell me how. Tell me what you need. Anything. She looked at the fence. Tell him thank you. Tell him it was worth it. Thomas found Cassius the next day. Repeated the message. Cassius stood there, this free black man thanking him, and felt absolutely nothing. I'm glad you made it, he said. Meant it, but couldn't feel it. That night at the fence, Thomas came to see you? Yes. He told me to tell you it was worth it. Was it? Abby thought about 173 people breathing free air. Thought about 10 years of never seeing Cassius's face. Thought about Sarah, growing up watching her mother love a ghost. Thought about Samuel, who'd never known anything but separation. I don't know, she whispered. I honestly don't know anymore. Me either. They sat in silence, hands touching through the gap, both wondering if they'd made the biggest mistake of their lives. April 9th, 1865. General Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse. The war was over. The Confederacy was dead. And 3 weeks later, the news reached Chesterfield County, Virginia, in the form of Union soldiers riding through plantation gates, reading proclamations that turned the world upside down. By order of the United States government and the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, all enslaved persons are hereby declared free. Abigail Johnson was 39 years old. She'd been enslaved for 39 years. And now, in one sentence from a stranger's mouth, she wasn't. The Henderson plantation erupted. Crying, screaming, praying. People collapsed to their knees. Others ran, not escaping, just running because they could, because no one would chase them, because their legs were their own now. Abby stood frozen in the field, dirt under her fingernails, sun beating down, and felt absolutely nothing. Sarah was beside her, 19 now, beautiful, strong. Mama, we're free, did you hear? We're free. I heard. Mama, why aren't you happy? Abby looked toward the fence. That fence. 10 years of her life lived through gaps in wood. I need to see him. She walked. Others were already tearing down the fence, literally tearing it apart with their bare hands, laughing, crying, destroying the barrier that had separated them for decades. Boards crashed to the ground, the sound of splitting wood like bones breaking. Abby found the spot, their spot, where she'd sat for 10 years, where his voice had lived in darkness. He was standing on the other side, the Whitfield side, looking at her. For the first time in 10 years, she saw him fully. Not a shadow, not a hand through a gap. Him. Cassius Merriweather was 45 years old. Tall, taller than she'd imagined. Thin from years of rationed food. His right eye was milky white, dead, exactly as he described. His left eye was brown, like earth after rain. Scars covered his arms from carpentry work. His hands, those hands that had touched hers through wood, were rough, calloused, strong. He was beautiful. He was a stranger. Abby, he said. His voice, that voice she knew better than her own heartbeat. But coming from this face, this body, this person she'd never seen, it felt wrong, disconnected. Cass. They stood 10 feet apart. The fence between them was gone. Nothing separating them now. They could walk to each other, embrace, kiss. Everything they dreamed about for 10 years. Neither moved. You're... Cassius started, stopped, tried again. You're shorter than I thought. Abby almost laughed. Almost. You're taller. Your eyes are lighter than I imagined. Yours are darker. Silence. Terrible, heavy silence. We're free, Cassius said. We're free. I can hold you now. You can. He took a step forward. She took a step forward. They closed the distance until they were inches apart. Cassius reached out slowly, like touching something that might shatter. His hand cupped her face, rough palm against her cheek, real, solid, present. Abby closed her eyes and felt wrong. This touch she'd dreamed about for 10 years. It felt wrong. Cass, He pulled her into an embrace, arms around her, her face against his chest. She could hear his heartbeat, real, human, strange. They stood like that for 5 minutes, both crying, both holding on, both feeling the same terrible thing. This wasn't what they'd imagined. Cassius built the house he'd promised. Took him 3 months. Pennsylvania, outside Philadelphia, where thousands of freed people were settling. 2 bedrooms, a porch, a garden. Everything he described through the fence. Abby and Sarah and Samuel moved in July 1865. The house was beautiful, clean, safe, windows that actually opened, a door that locked from the inside. Space, freedom. It felt like a cage. The first night, Abby lay in bed next to Cassius, actually next to him, touching distance, no fence between them, and couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe, couldn't stop feeling like something was crushing her chest. Cass? Yes. Are you awake? Yes. Can you sleep? No. They lay in darkness, not touching, staring at the ceiling. This should feel right, Abby whispered. Why doesn't this feel right? I don't know. I dreamed about this for 10 years, waking up next to you. And now that I have it, she couldn't finish. I know. I feel it too. What's wrong with us? Cassius turned on his side, looked at her in the moonlight, coming through the window. We loved each other through a fence. Maybe that's the only way we know how to love. That's insane. Is it? Abby, we fell in love with voices, with ideas of each other, with what we imagined. Now we're real people with real flaws and real bodies and real presence. And we don't know how to do this. She started crying. So what do we do? I don't know. They tried. God, they tried. Breakfast together. Cassius cooked. Turned out he was good at it. Abby set the table. Sarah and Samuel ate quietly, watching their mother and this strange man try to act like a family. This is good, Abby said, tasting the eggs. Thank you. Silence. Chewing. The scrape of forks on plates. Sleep well? Cassius asked. No. You? No. More silence. Sarah looked between them, confused. I thought you loved each other. We do, they said simultaneously. Then why do you look so sad? Neither had an answer. August 1865. 1 month living together. They tried being intimate. Cassius kissed her, actually kissed her, lips on lips, the thing they'd imagined for 10 years. It was awkward, clumsy, teeth bumped, noses in the way. Nothing like the fantasy. They tried going further. Couldn't. Abby started shaking, remembering the overseer, remembering Joshua, remembering every time her body hadn't belonged to her. Cassius stopped immediately. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I want to. I want to be with you. But my body won't. Shh. It's okay. We don't have to. But I deserve nothing. And you don't owe me anything, ever. We'll figure this out, or we won't. Either way, I'm here. She held him and cried and felt grateful and furious and broken all at once. September 1865. 2 months. Cassius started going for long walks, hours at a time, just walking, thinking, being alone. Abby started spending entire afternoons on the porch, staring at nothing. Sarah would ask questions. Mama, are you okay? And Abby would nod, but not answer. They still loved each other. That was the worst part. The love hadn't died. It was still there, massive and overwhelming and suffocating. But it didn't fit anymore, like trying to wear shoes that had been shaped for different feet. One night in late September, Abby said it out loud. We loved each other because we couldn't have each other. Cassius looked up from the furniture he was carving. What? The fence, the separation, the impossibility. That's what made it work. We loved what we couldn't reach. Now that we have it. She gestured helplessly at the house, at him, at everything they'd built. We don't know how. So, what are you saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Cass, I'm not happy. Are you happy? Long, terrible pause. No. Why aren't we happy? We're free. We're together. We have everything we wanted. Maybe we wanted the wrong things. Abby flinched like he'd slapped her. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. We spent 10 years loving an idea. Now we're real people and we don't fit. So what do we do? I don't know. December 1865. 6 months living together. Samuel was 6 now, asking questions. Mama, why does Mr. Cassius sleep on the porch sometimes? He likes the fresh air. But it's cold. He doesn't mind. Mama, do you love him? Yes, baby. Does he love you? Yes. Then why are you both so sad? Abby had no answer. Just pulled her son close and cried quietly so he wouldn't hear. January 1866. 7 months. Thomas came to visit. Still free. Still thriving. Brought his wife and son. Happy. Glowing. He saw Cassius and Abby sitting on opposite ends of the porch, and his smile faded. What happened to you two? What do you mean? Abby asked. You look like you're at a funeral. We're fine. No, you're not. Thomas sat between them. I owe you my life. Both of you. You're the reason I'm free, the reason my son will never be enslaved. So I'm going to be honest with you. You look miserable. Silence. We are, Cassius said finally. We are miserable. But you're together now. You're free, you can— We can't, Abby interrupted. That's the problem. We can't be what we thought we'd be. Thomas looked between them, understanding dawning. You loved each other through the fence. Yes. And now the fence is gone. Yes. And you don't know how to love without it. Neither answered. Didn't need to. Thomas stood, looked at both of them with something like pity. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. And I lived 30 years enslaved. After he left, Abby and Cassius sat in silence for an hour. Finally, Cassius spoke. I think I should go. What? Go, leave, move somewhere else. Maybe Ohio. Give you space. Give me space. Give us both a chance to figure out who we are without each other. Cass, no. Abby, we're making each other miserable. You know it. I know it. We love each other and we're destroying each other at the same time. So we just give up? After 10 years? After everything? What's the alternative? Stay together and be miserable forever? Watch each other die slowly from unhappiness? Is that love? She couldn't answer. Because he was right. God help her, he was right. March 1867. 2 years after the war ended. 12 years after they met. Cassius packed his things. Not much. Some clothes, carpentry tools, the piece of fence he'd carved their initials into in 1855. They stood on the porch one last time. Same porch where they'd spent 6 months being sad together. I loved you through that fence for 10 years, Cassius said. His voice was steady, resolved. More than life, more than God, more than anything. But we were people built for that world, the world of separation and whispers and impossibility. Without it, we don't know who we are. I know, Abby whispered. I felt it too. We saved 180 people. Maybe that was our purpose, not to be together, but to be the bridge for others. That's not fair. We deserved happiness too. We did. But maybe we won't get it. Not together anyway. He reached for her hand. She let him take it. Last time. Final time. You were my only love, Cassius said. And you were mine. Forever. Forever. He walked down the steps, down the path. She watched until he disappeared. Sarah came to stand beside her mother. Mama, are you okay? No, baby. But I will be. Someday. Do you regret it? Loving him? Abby thought about 10 years of voices through wood, about 180 people breathing free air, about all the happiness they'd sacrificed and all the lives they'd saved. No, she said finally. I regret that loving him wasn't enough. But I don't regret the love itself. Epilogue. Cassius Merriweather died in Cleveland, Ohio in 1889. He was 65 years old. Among his belongings, his niece found a piece of weathered wood with carved initials. C+A, 1855 to 1865. Abigail Johnson died in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1891. She was 65 years old. Among her belongings, her daughter Sarah found a letter, written in 1867, but never sent. Dear Cassius, I loved you every day of those 10 years, every hour, every minute. But our love was made for that world, the world of fences and whispers and impossibility. In this world, where we are free to touch and see and hold, we didn't fit. I'm sorry, I'm sorry we couldn't make it work. I'm sorry that loving you wasn't enough. I'm sorry that freedom broke what captivity built. But I would do it all again. Every day at that fence. Every person we saved. Every moment of impossible love. Because maybe that's what we were meant to be. Not lovers who grow old together, but two people who loved enough to sacrifice everything, including each other, for something bigger. I will love you until my last breath. And in whatever comes after, I hope we find a world where fences don't exist and we can finally be what we dreamed. Yours forever, Abby. The letter was found pressed between the pages of an old Bible, next to Exodus 21:16. Whoever steals a man and sells him shall be put to death. Below it, in Abby's handwriting, we stole freedom for 180 people. We stole love from impossibility. And when we were free to have everything, we had nothing. This is the price of righteousness.